also worth mentioning, if we're going to spill any tea today, if you're a foreign student, good luck getting your stuff out of university accommodation during a global pandemic, because yeah. Hey there guys, my name is Georgia, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video spilling the tea on Stirling University, so if you're interested in that, please just keep on watching. So the way that this video is laid out, I'm going to tell you 5 of the best things about Stirling University and 5 of the kind of slightly more not so great things about Stirling University. So the first thing that I would really like to mention is that Stirling University is one of the friendliest places I've honestly ever been. The people there, from the day I started until the day I left, were just so welcoming and friendly. From the porters at night in the accommodation to the people who you see every day, like your lecturers, your seminar tutors. So if you're looking for a friendly university, this is definitely one to consider. Stirling is just such a beautiful university campus. It has a loch in the middle, which is this body of water. I'll put some photos up here if I can find any for anyone that hasn't been. The sunsets, the sunrises, they are breathtaking. There's so much kind of green areas, so much grass, so many trees. It is honestly just such a beautiful and calming place to be. So the third great thing that I want to say about Stirling University is that it is so inclusive. Stirling University really promotes equality and well-being and all of those good things. They've actually got 2 initiatives which I really wanted to mention quickly. So the first one is in the Union Bar. They actually offer these like anti-drink spiking things that you can put in a bottle and put your straw through, which is super safe. They also, as a bonus set, offer the Ask Angela. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, I will leave it down below in the description. Another thing that Stirling University do, which I think is really sweet and really good for safety, is that if you're out and about in town, especially at night, kind of lost your wallet or you don't have cash with you, you can show your university card to most of the taxi companies and they'll actually give you the ride for free at that point until you can pay it back, because it kind of adds a tally onto your student card, which you can find on your portal. So if you're ever in a bit of a pinch, you can always get back to campus safely, which I think is really good of the university and the taxi companies to do. So the fourth thing that I really loved about Stirling University is that you feel like you can really take part. So if you'd like to be on the freshers team, I was on the freshers team my 2nd year and I was freshers team captain my 3rd year, and I had such a wonderful experience. The union staff were fantastic that work with freshers, and it was just such an amazing experience to meet friends and to get to meet all the new freshers and to feel like I was really involved with my university. Now we are on to the spilling the tea, kind of not so great part of the video. The first thing I'd like to talk about is Stirling University's approach to wellbeing. Now in general, Stirling University do have a wellbeing department, but at the time where I needed it the most, I felt as though it perhaps didn't serve me as best it could. When I was feeling a lot of anxiety during university, I decided that it was probably best to talk to a counsellor, which is absolutely okay, and I recommend everyone does it. Even when you feel like you're okay, it's always great to talk to people. So I was told there was like a 4 to 8 week minimum wait to see someone. About 6 weeks, I would say, later I got an email and I was set up with a counsellor. Maybe we just weren't clicking, and if you've been to any kind of therapy or counselling, you might have felt that before. So I explained to the Department of Wellbeing, I just said, you know, I'm not exactly sure that this is for me, is there anyone else? They were a bit like, oh well, this is kind of it. And then they also said, you know, you may as well use your sessions because you only get 10 free ones. So I thought that was quite surprising to me. They didn't really justify it with it's only 10 a year or whether that's over your 4 years, but I feel like 10 a year is just not enough for some people that need to use the services. So I feel like I was slightly let down, and I do have some friends that feel that way too. So that is definitely something to keep in mind if you do think that down the road you might want to speak to someone or require the kind of wellbeing services. Just make sure that you have something in place and that you talk to the university and see whether they've managed to improve that in the time that I've been away. The second thing I'd like to speak about is that everything is expensive. Not only are tuition fees for people coming from different countries expensive, but everything is expensive. I wanted to join loads and loads of clubs and societies at university until I found out that each of them cost money. So first of all, you need to buy your clubs or societies membership. So if you want to join a sports club, you actually also need a gym membership. So that is £9.99 a month for students or £99 per academic year. On top of that, I believe, at least when I was there, I think that it was like £5 for your club's membership and quite a lot more for your sports clubs membership. So for instance, I really wanted to do riding, and at the time it was something like £80 to join horse riding. You then had to have your gym membership, which was another £100, and then it was something like £20 a week, and then you had to pay for petrol to get there too for horse riding, and it just kind of got really expensive, and I thought I just cannot afford that, especially because I was paying for university accommodation, which again, let me get the price, but that is not cheap. So I was actually so lucky at university that I was able to save up and also afford to stay in good accommodation. I was actually staying in a place called Juniper Court, which is their newest accommodation, and it is really nice. It's plain, it's basic, it's a lot nicer than some of the other places that Stirling University have. It is one of the most, if not the most expensive accommodation, but I would say they're all on the expensive side. For instance, my rent was £158.97 per week. That's for a single ensuite room, so you do get a little bathroom. When I say little, I mean you can stand up and move and there's like a little shower and you can like stand up and move. And it's also worth mentioning, if we're going to spill any tea today, if you're a foreign student, good luck getting your stuff out of university accommodation during a global pandemic, because yeah, this kind of thing can happen. So for those of you who haven't heard, Stirling University hasn't exactly been handling themselves well during this pandemic. So Brig, which is the University of Stirling student newspaper, published that the university was saying anybody who decided to leave early due to this global pandemic was going to face charges of up to £400 in early leaving fees. Many union staff and students actually thought this was really disgraceful and spoke out against it. There was even a petition to get rid of this early termination charge. The union did eventually release a statement towards the university asking them to wipe this £400 early termination charge, and eventually I believe the university did listen and did stop enforcing this charge. This left a lot of students in a really bad situation. Due to the virus, there were lockdown measures, meaning that you weren't supposed to leave home, so many people could not get to Stirling in time to remove their belongings. Not just that, but there were foreign students, people from all over, who had since travelled back home before airports had been shut down, which meant they could not return to go and collect their stuff. The university was inundated with complaints from many different people, including union sources, saying that people couldn't necessarily get their belongings, especially if they lived abroad. The university's response to these complaints was emailing someone back and suggesting that they hire a moving company, which the student later found would cost £750. I couldn't believe this when I heard, so I did a bit of a dig thinking, why would Stirling University need their accommodation back this badly? And it's because they wanted to rent it out again for the summer, just like they've been doing the past few summers. But due to this global pandemic, I don't think many people are heading up to Stirling University and begging to rent out student accommodation for their holidays. Brig, the student newspaper, has since called out Stirling University for the neglect for the well-being of their students. Personally, I am absolutely appalled by the university's behaviour, especially during such a fragile time, and I hope that they can look at this situation or situations, learn from their mistakes and start treating people with some respect. Kind of going on from the last point, but the facilities at Stirling University are very old. When I say old, I don't mean in that kind of gorgeous, like Oxford, Cambridge, Aberdeen, like all these beautiful brick universities that have aged beautifully and look like Hogwarts. Stirling is just kind of like built in the 60s and has asbestos in it old. I'm just saying. Where does the budget go? We don't know. Now, I talked a bit earlier about how Stirling is a small campus in itself. You can start to feel quite isolated, I would say, in campus. It is all very kind of in itself. It's this tiny little village type thing. It's got a little co-op where you can buy, is it a co-op? I don't know, but it's got a little store where you can buy food at extortionate, again, expensive prices, but you can feel isolated from the real world. I think that Stirling is charming and there are some kind of beautiful brick buildings. There's a castle, it's lovely, but you can feel like campus is its own tiny world, and if you can't afford to travel out a lot, it does get a little bit kind of oppressive, I would say. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, Stirling is lovely, but it's tiny. The high street is dying, just like with everywhere. The high street is just nearly dead. All the stores are kind of shutting down. There's been stores left empty for 4 years. Nearly 5, because I left last year. There are still stores that are empty. As well as that, there are only 2 nightclubs and they're both a little bit rubbish in my opinion. Let me know down below, I'm sure people will rant. Dusk or Foo Bar, well, anyways, would say kind of spinning this onto a positive, that there is a train station and you can get a train in about an hour to Edinburgh and an hour to Glasgow. So if you want a good night out, don't sit in Stirling. Edinburgh is probably the way to go. So an honourable mention as to one of the really bad things about Stirling University is the freaking parking. You will not get parked. If you have a car, get rid of it. Honestly, leave it at home. Don't bring a car. You will not get parked. It's so infuriating. And even if you have like a parking disc and everything, you still get misticketed. You still can't find somewhere to park. You can't like park just wherever you please, like on the grass, etc., because they do catch people. They will give you like a £60 ticket. It is actually so infuriating because you're like, I'm here to learn. I pay my fees. I pay so much money and I can't learn because you won't build more parking spaces. That's so annoying. Like, hold me back. So, the last and final spilling the real tea here is going to be about the political culture at Stirling. Now, I don't want this to become a politics channel. I may be a politics graduate, but I don't want this to become a channel where I sit and kind of discuss my personal politics and everything. Although if you'd like a spin-off channel, please do let me know if anyone's interested. No? Okay. Anyways, I went to university at the age of 18. I had my opinions, I had my politics, my beliefs, and that's okay. And I wanted to go there and have discourse, political discourse and discussion and debate, lively, friendly debate. And I wanted to see if my opinions were going to stand up to people, or whether I had some opinions that maybe I needed to change. But the problem is, so many people I met at Stirling University, lecturers included, so many people weren't up for that. And they did not have open minds, and they were very stuck in their ways, I would say. People came to university thinking they knew everything at the age of 17. So now, before you say, oh gosh, Georgia must have been going in there and just saying these awful things and just being ridiculous in what she wanted to discuss, honestly, that's definitively not the case. I think Stirling has a real problem with this unwillingness to participate in anything other than your own discourse. The discussion and the lively debate and the discourse just wasn't there, and that really let me down during my time at Stirling. And I feel as though my knowledge just isn't as well-rounded as it should have been, and that I wasn't really allowed to discuss everything I wanted to. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you made it this far, please make sure that you hit like and also make sure you are subscribed. I cannot wait to speak to you guys in the comments. Let me know what you're most or least looking forward to about Stirling University, or if you're a former student there, please let me know what your favourite or least favourite thing was. Thank you so much again for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye!